Well, hello everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Critical Weight Theory, where we're diving into an exploration of the theory of reality. Ooh, it's a powerful framework that helps us make sense of the world and apply our insights to improve our own lives. Well, how about that? Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, theories give us the tools to step back and look beyond immediate circumstances, allowing us to gain a broader perspective on how society functions. And that could be a nifty thing. So, one fascinating way to approach this exploration is through sociology. And I'm sure plenty of you have heard that word somewhere. Maybe some of you are actually sociologists, but here's a little refresher course on what that's about and why it can be valuable as a way of exploring the world. So, sociology is the study of human behavior, relationships, and social institutions like family, education, and government. As sociologists, people analyze how people interact and what those interactions reveal about society at large. It answers, or at least hopes to answer, some of life's most profound questions, such as why do we do what we do, by examining the forces that shape our decisions. So, this brings us to the so called sociological imagination. Sociology introduces us to a concept called, you guessed it, the sociological imagination, which involves seeing our own lives within the larger context of societal patterns. This perspective empowers us to understand how social structures, norms, and institutions influence our daily lives, those pesky things. For instance, how does your workplace culture or the education system shape the way you think, behave, and interact with others? So if you ask certain questions in certain areas of society, obviously that can get you into trouble. But nevertheless, we do have brains. So that's one of the things that, can sort of propel us into asking questions. Sociology helps you uncover these hidden dynamics. And sometimes they are indeed rather hidden. They might be, sort of cutting to the core of who we are. Wow, some deep stuff, right? Understanding social structures not only allows us to navigate them more effectively, but also opens doors to positive social change. That thing that we're so often told to be squeamish about. Oh, you positive social change, progressive rhetoric, gross. We want things to stay the way they are and never change, and we want to be stuck in the amber like that mosquito in Jurassic Park. You know, after all, if that didn't happen, how would they have brought the dinosaurs back to life? But on a more serious note, whether you're looking to uh, understand the broader structures of inequality, race relations, or gender roles, sociology allows you to recognize patterns that often go unnoticed. And yet again, there's a certain contingent of American society that thinks we shouldn't be examining inequality and things like that or challenging things, and they just want things to stay in a certain straitjacket. But that's not really how the human population actually works. That's not how life happens. So it pays to study these things and call into question a lot of what we call society and culture. So if it's done right, it's about improving relationships and reducing conflicts. By studying social norms, values, and roles, sociology improves or could improve our interpersonal relationships, whether it's at work, home, or in your community. Understanding how different social factors shape behavior helps reduce conflict and enhance communication. Now, communication can be tricky if you're dealing with people who are, set in their ways and they don't want to listen to you or whatever. But you do have the ability in a lot of cases to get through to people in some basic way and convey your ideas and hear their ideas, and hopefully you won't compromise too much in ways that are threatening to you and to others. But dialogue can indeed be good and can be done effectively. But anyway, if you apply these principles well enough, you become more aware of how someone's upbringing or cultural background might influence their approach to life, helping foster empathy and cooperation in your interactions. Again, to the extent that cooperation would be healthy and interaction in general would be healthy. That's not to say, I'm saying you should never interact with people, but in certain situations, like if there's a danger there, like if there's an obvious threat to yourself, then you might have to just sit that conversation out. You might have to get away from there. Like if it's somebody swinging a machete at you or something like that, as a dramatic example. Obviously, can't apply sociology in every instance in your life because sometimes things just don't happen that way. But it is valuable for addressing a lot of social issues. One of the most significant contributions of sociology is in addressing social problems like poverty, racism, and gender inequality. Social issues that often have deep-rooted causes involving not only individual choices but also economic and political institutions. Wow, we're getting into politics here now. Sociology gives us the analytical tools to examine these complex structures and see beyond surface level solutions. It teaches us to look at the big picture, understand historical context, and push for systemic changes that tackle the root of these problems to the extent possible. I'm not sure that every problem is able to be solved, especially through, you know, communication with people who aren't listening. I guess a key trick is to, get people to listen to you, which is like a whole other discussion, really. I mean, it's a chorally, or as I'm probably mispronouncing that word, but it's like an addendum type of topic. But informed decision making is another key factor here. Sociology helps us make better decisions by understanding societal trends and behaviors, whether it's choosing a career, deciding on a political candidate, or making ethical decisions. Having a sociological perspective allows, or again, potentially allows us to consider the broader implications of our actions. How will your choices affect not just your life, but the communities and social systems around you? That's really a key question that we should be asking. And sociology equips you to take a more thoughtful, informed approach, especially if you're applying the basic premise correctly. So, a lot of it is indeed about cultural awareness and sensitivity. In today's interconnected world, cultural diversity is more relevant than ever, despite some people claiming, that, oh, you got to turn the clock back or you got to keep things the way they are, keep us frozen in time. Again, things, fortunately, in a lot of cases, just don't work like that. Sociology promotes cultural awareness, helping us appreciate the richness of different customs, values, and belief systems. And then, of course, you learn about things like countercultures as well. By understanding the sociological context of others, we can build bridges between communities and reduce prejudices and all that kind of fun stuff. So, of course, everybody's capable of prejudice, and it's it's one of those tricky things because you have to really wonder, like, is what I'm saying or thinking actually true, or is it just rooted in some sort of prejudice? And to make things more complicated, technically, even though this is rarely said at all, not every prejudice is equally as harmful. Not every prejudice is equally as untrue. So again, a lot of people are not out there saying that, but there's some truth to it. Just like the thing about stereotypes, like we always hear that stereotypes are dangerous, and sure enough, they most often can be dangerous, but in a lot of cases they can be rooted in truth. There's at least a small kernel of truth to it. And that's one of the reasons why prejudice of the most, you know, devastating kind is so easy to take flight. it it is often rooted in some, at least vague, portion of truth. There's a little bit of truth to a lot of our prejudices and even our fears. And especially when you break it down to the individual level, where we have our own unique kind of truths, where we have life experience accrued, and anecdotally we know a lot of things to be true, even if a lot of people don't have those same experiences. So our own unique life experiences will shape our perceptions and of course our prejudices. And it can be really tricky, again, to distinguish between what is sort of a good prejudgment versus what is a bad one, because it's like, think about it like this: what if you're walking around and there's somebody who is basically looking like a zombie, you know and they're carrying a weapon or something. They look monstrous. And if you're completely out of context, and you don't understand like how makeup can be applied, and you don't understand that Halloween is a thing or something like that, you might be freaked the hell out by that, right? So, uh, if you're taking things out of context and you're not understanding the situation, anything can be scarier to you. So that's why different religious points of view, or you know different physical appearances, often are really scary to people who have not encountered them before. And that's one of the crazy things about life. I've I've been alive for over 40 years now. I'm used to seeing different types of people and places and encountering different ideas. But at the same time, I've been shaped into fearing certain things myself. Hopefully not in a racist way or a particularly hazardous way or anything like that. But yeah, nobody is totally immune from this. We all have preconceptions, and the trick is to examine our own thinking and to maybe admit that to ourselves, and to sort of, as I think the Beastie Boys said, check your head. Or another hip hop related one would be check yourself before you wreck yourself. I think that's a rap related expression anyway. But anyway, culture influences influences everything around us. From what we eat, how we greet each other, to our beliefs about what's right or wrong. So, critical thinking is really at the core of this. Sociology teaches us to question the status quo, and encouraging us to engage in critical thinking, whether it's challenging media narratives, political rhetoric, or popular social norms. Sociology invites us to dig deeper and examine the underlying forces at play. And again, this can extend quite easily into our own perceptions of things. It's it's a lifelong battle to find out who you are and what you actually believe. That I don't think that question is ever totally over until, well, you kick the bucket. So this skill it's invaluable when navigating the complex world of information we live in, preventing us from taking things at face value and promoting independent reflective thought. So, we're talking about theories that shape our understanding. To better understand society, it's a good idea to delve into key theories that sociologists use. Like, if you really want to know what sociology is at its core, you might want to actually look into the history of it and some of the ideas. For example, there's class theory, which explores economic inequality and social stratification. There's race and gender theories, which look at discrimination and identity politics from various angles. You have Marxist and neo Marxist theories, which examine the role of capitalism in shaping society. There's feminist theories, which explore the impact of gender on social roles and opportunities. And then there's postmodernism, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but anyway, it questions traditional narratives and structures of power. Um, Postmodernism pretty often, to my mind, kind of breaks down to absurdity at times. It gets a little bit too bogged down by questions and gets a little abstract. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not really the best approach to things. Um, and I could elaborate on that more, but I'm kind of drawing a blank. It doesn't mean the criticism has no validity. I mean, go ahead and look into postmodernism yourself, and you'll see that it's very complex, to put it simply. That's not to say there's no validity to it, but it's just not something that I'm seriously steeped in. So anyway, understanding these frameworks, and I'm sure there are some others I didn't go over, but understanding those allow us to analyze society from multiple angles and develop a more nuanced view of the forces shaping our reality. And of course, you can try to come up with your own theories. That's a healthy enough practice in a lot of cases. It's a lot about personal growth as well. At its core, sociology is not just about understanding society, it's also about understanding ourselves by exploring how societal forces shape identity, behavior, and opportunities. Sociology fosters personal growth, or at least could. It encourages self reflection, better decision making, and helps us uncover a clearer sense of purpose. It's about seeing ourselves within the broader context of human existence. So, in today's rapidly evolving world, um, it's a good thing to look into these types of things. So, understanding the forces that shape society has never been more crucial than really today. And part of the reason for that is simply that you're here today. This moment is technically always the most important moment that you'll ever experience. If you think about it, it's kind of a freaky thought, but it's also true. Like, this is really the time that you can have an impact, more than you've had an impact in the past. And this is the moment where you have the ability to make a choice. So how you see the world and whether or not you re-examine how you see it is really an important step in improving either yourself or the world around you. Well, it's not an either or question. You can do both simultaneously. But sociology gives us the tools to make sense of these forces and sense of ourselves, whether we're tackling social issues, improving relationships, or reflecting on our own lives. By applying sociological theories and insights, we can not only better understand the world, but also make more meaningful contributions to it. Well, hopefully, anyway. But anyway, that about wraps it up for this episode. Stay tuned for more discussions on how we can, you know, go through life using the power of sociology and critical thinking. That's one of the main points of this podcast, is to look at the world and sort of challenge a lot of assumptions we make about it. So, thanks for listening, and remember, theories are the lenses through which we see the world. Choose the right ones, and you'll uncover a deeper, more profound understanding of reality. Either that, or you're failing at it, and you haven't done it right. So anyway, have a good day.